Hi, everyone. Today is Thursday, September the 4th, 2025. It's still 2025. And we are starting to charge towards the end of summer, which is officially just in a couple of weeks. Nice to see you all were able to make it. Thanks for the 5x5, Lindsay. Says 11 killed in the U.S. strike on drug cartels, on drug carrying vessel from Venezuela. So they know who these guys are. They've been tracking them a while, and they're just going to start picking them off, and nobody can stand against them. I laughed when they said that Maduro had, 15,000 soldiers. I was like, what are they going to do? What do they got long range missiles or something? And they're like, and if they send drones, well, you've seen that new technology that they have, where they just drop all the drones within. I don't know how far it goes. Does anyone here know how many meters, or if it's like any drone like that's within 500 meters or the size of a football field, and they all just go poof? So it doesn't matter. They usually send like a whole bunch, and they're like, oh, well, a couple of gets through. Not if they get shut down. Not if they get jammed. So like I said, nothing like the American military. And I mean, them bombing this was like nothing. Let's see. Trump addresses health rumors after days without public events. And like I said before, I mean, once I already commented on that in the Discord channel, and I just said, when he stops playing golf, that's when y'all need to be worried, okay? But as long as he's playing golf, don't worry about it. Yeah, that keeps him in shape. Bradley J says, hello, Sam. The media and social networks are abuzz about Trump having TIA, transient ischemic attack, or mini stroke. They are in panic mode about the possibility Vance becoming president and being worse than Trump. What do you see? Thank you once again. Yeah, well, first of all, the media, they so badly want Trump to be dead, and they live in this little fantasy world. Yeah. And they're talking about, and Vance, and it'll be even worse. Listen, Vance will carry on whatever Trump has rolling. It's not just about Trump anymore. It's about his admin. And this time he's got the dream team. And I like how they press the button on people right away. Like the CDC, that is an infestation of DEI and criminals. And I would like close the entire department. That's what I think should happen there. The entire department, the entire CDC should just be closed, rather than trying to pick out like who the assholes are, because really, I don't think that place would be survivable. It says Trump says China conspiring against the US with Putin. And so he's calling them all out. I would have called them out earlier with China, knowing that they have this great big hate diatribe against Americans. And they are constantly on their people, like saying negative things about the Americans and American people. And I just cannot imagine either the Canadian or the American government talking about Chinese people like that. Like, I really cannot. So I'm glad Trump is calling that out, because I would too. I've had it with that. It's like, you don't get to have a friendship with a group of people and then, trash them behind their back. That's not being a very good friend. So I do like how Trump is calling that out. And most Chinese people would say, yeah, that would be really bad if we're here in America, and if the American government talked about us the way that the Chinese government talks about Americans, and Western people from Western society in general. And it's pure, total, and complete jealousy. That's all it is. And I'm really, really happy that the American government has caught on to the fact that, the Chinese make a lot of the medications that people depend upon. So, if they wanted to kill everybody off, they could kill off a large percentage of the population very quickly, but it would only happen once. After that, they would just like cut off the Chinese completely and not buy anything from them, and they need to sell. So they're kind of between a rock and a hard place. Jeffrey Epstein press conference. We know their names. So the victims are compiling a list of Epstein associates, but say that they're scared for their own safety. Yeah. Well, they would be, more than anybody, they would be the ones who would be able to say who of the crowd of people that Jeffrey Epstein surrounded himself by. Because, he didn't keep like a client list. He had a contacts list. And you would have to go through and see how often he contacted certain people. Because anybody here, if you were an extremely wealthy person and you were at a party and Jeffrey Epstein was there and he struck up a conversation with you and you hadn't booked your flight to Los Angeles yet, and he says, hey, my private jet with a bunch of other people here are headed to LA. Did you say you were leaving on Tuesday? Well, here, I'll just give you the information and you can show up in the lounge there and we'll take you on our flight. We'll just send us a picture of your identification so we can add you to the log. And so he would collect up as many people as he could, because the more people, what skin off his nose would it be to have like one more person on that airplane? The more people he had on that plane, the more he was able to cover up for the few people that he was doing dirty business. And of course, Bill Clinton's going to be on the list. The fact that he had a picture painted with Clinton wearing the blue dress that what's her name? The one who saved the dress, the one she was doing stuff she shouldn't have been. Monica Lewinsky, and that's her claim to fame, is being a whore in the White House. I don't care what anyone says. She was a pig, and she did stuff to her boss, and she kept the dress, and she caught him, but she was a pig. So that's what I think of her. So they had a picture of him in the pig's dress, and that was just telling everybody that he was just telling Bill Clinton, I got stuff on you. So calling out all of that stuff. So yeah, Bill Clinton definitely, Bill Gates definitely, Prince Andrew definitely. But again, how many rich people does he need? Oh, the one from Victoria's Secret who bankrolled him, definitely. Morpheus says, "Hi Sam, who's first? Silver to 150 or Solana to 1200? Oh, Solana to 1200. That was an easy one. Thank you, Morpheus. That was a great question. And thanking me for all that I do. Hey, thanks for showing up. Me and all my craziness here. The other day, having last minute stuff. And actually, I made it back here at a decent time to do this, but I didn't have time to set up my good computer. So this seems to be holding together for me. You would laugh if you saw what condition this laptop was in. Oh my goodness. So is it? Yeah, Kevin says, "Hi Sam, at what point do you see Doge at least 40 cents this month?" Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would say like on its way to a new all-time. Remember, once it starts moving, Kevin, I don't think that it's going to stop. I think it's going to go like right to the dollar. Normally it goes like this. It goes straight up, and then it might go like that, and then it goes up again, and then it go, yeah. So that's pretty much everything too. All of our faves. William Penn says, "Would the increase in crypto market be related to each of the interest rate decreases that Jerome Powell does over the next 3 months?" Yes, it is going to be related to that. But a lot of it is going to be based on the anticipation as well. And that's why it's just good to just be all in. Yeah, it's good to be all in. And then when you're taking your profits out and then just parking it and then waiting for the backside of any wave when it comes. It may take a couple of months to see any reasonable pullbacks. But, like it pretty much is up, up, up. But yeah, I do feel like this month will be the first interest rate reduction. And just out of pure stubbornness, he might only do 0.25%, even though like I vote for 0.5%. 0.5% would be really good. But at least 0.25%, it would send a message to the markets that they're going to be reducing interest rates. Yeah. It is costing the American people a lot of money to have these high rates. And the rest of the world is not doing that. The rest of the world, they're printing money like crazy. And part of that is lowering the interest rates. William Penn says, "Hi, Sam. Another bee in the bonnet. 6 German right-wing party members passed away unexpectedly before elections. Suspicious or coincidence?" Ooh, well, I think it's a mix, William Penn. I think it's a mix. So I'm going to put that in the parking lot for later, and I'm just going to ask you if maybe you can post in the Q&A Sam room in Discord, if you want to post in one of those rooms there, and just put at Samantha Jane so that the little red dot shows up. So when I scroll through, the rooms light up here, but I see the red dots. Yeah, those call my attention. So those are the ones I skip around to first so that I can see what's going on, answer some questions. So make sure that you get your connection into Discord. On Patreon, it should automatically, I check the roles and everything. Because if you're, for example, if you're in the premium tier, then there's a bunch of rooms that are set aside for you guys and that only premium members and above would have access to. Kevin says, hey, Sam, if things don't run in September, could we possibly be seeing 2026 crypto rises because of the anticipation and excitement blinding us all? You know what, Kevin, that's a really great question. And just to explain to you again how things work, a long time ago, which would be like when I first started on the Patreon back in early 2019, I had a hard time with timelines, like trying to figure out how far, because there's no time on the other side as you would understand it. So you have to use signposts, you know. And I know a lot of people right now are having a hard time believing that Camp Flagrate is not going to explode tomorrow. But I'm getting pretty good at figuring out how far things are. Sometimes it's just all of a sudden, like with the Israel Iran, the first time they actually came out and, you know, and the IDF attacked Bardo. Yet the magic mouse was working. And in the premium room, I'm going to talk to Rudy. We're going to use the magic mouse to see if we can figure out where his next place is going to be. Because it sounds like a lot of the blabs from 2019 are starting to come true on his end as well, which is always exciting. And that's what the reading room is about. If you want to post something in there, because that really helps me a lot. When you tell me, some people in the premium room, they just direct message me, or the advanced plus, they'll direct message me and say, oh, you know, this came true. Because maybe they don't want to talk about it in public, right? And that's cool. I get it. That's what direct messaging is for. You want to have a private conversation with me. So I'm glad to be available for that, because I really learn a lot. Like, because I want to be able to do all of the stuff I have to do, but I can't do it with everybody. I explained to somebody, I said, there's like about 500 members. So I only need like a sampling to do. Like Green Eyes says, hi, Sam. How close are you to the shore now? What looks like set the pop first and when? Come on, Doge, mid-September? Yeah, I do think that we're going to run in September. I don't think that we're too excited or blinded by it. But I mean, I have been off by 2 weeks before. And I named this month a very long time ago, like earlier in the year. And it stayed steady, because the closer I get, then I can judge, because I need signposts, right? So you guys are good at pulling that out of me, the signposts. But that you saw that when I was talking about Doge back in, I don't know, 2019, 2020. Okay. Do you see Elon Musk actively getting involved in a crypto project in management capacity in the future? If so, which coin do you feel? Well, I mean, I think he's already made it pretty clear that Dogecoin, that's going to be his baby. And yeah, I do see him getting involved in cryptos at a minimum, you know, endorsing them. It's going to be like the new hip, cool place to be, you know, and this new technology that's being developed. Yeah, it's going to replace the old guard of elites. They're going to be all put out of business. But it was only because, you know, again, it was the no talents. You know, it was like the great-great-grandchildren of people who actually had the abilities. I mean, they were living off of generational wealth, but because of their spending and their wastefulness. But I think that a lot of people who are involved in that lifestyle, that they're burning through a lot of their money and it's not being replaced. And that's why they get involved in these political scams, you know, taking money on the side, or this, you know, this greenhouse credits and all of that craziness. But it described the Department of Government Efficiency right away. But I didn't know. I thought I was talking about the Dogecoin. I'm getting from this run where it's like this and like that. I mean, you can use Solana as an example, right? That's really the darling. I mean, it's not back down to 170 or anything like that. It's still riding, you know, $200. So, I mean, if you had sold your Solana at like 210 or something, and then we're waiting for this big drop, I mean, it didn't really happen. There were other opportunities with other cryptos. So I know that can be a little bit frustrating for people, especially where it's like that. But I mean, I'm doing my best to tell you what the big runners are. You know, last time it was Chainlink. I think Solana again. Now XRP, I do believe that that's going to start making its move. And the people who are releasing all of those tokens to suppress the cost, I think what happens, not I think, I know what happens is that people are now watching their wallets, and it's artificially damaging the price of XRP. Um, because are there channels specifically really dedicated to XRP or XRP and just like a few other cryptos? That's all they talk about and watch, because they got to watch the wallets and stuff. So what happens is, that's the thing about the XRP army is they're so dedicated to their coin or token. And like I said, I mean, I feel that they've been abused by the people who they trust every time. Oh, this is happening, that know nothing, and they hid the fact that they were in trouble. Like from what I see from before, you know, I definitely got the impression that it really surprised or blindsided a lot of people that they were being investigated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. And I'll tell you right now, as a compliance girl, way ahead of time. They send you a letter and they got to give you so many days and they get you to get your books in order. And usually they do an audit, right? And then after that, you're in trouble because they're not going to ruin you, trash your name just based on, oh, well, we need to do an audit. And I mean, I was in a system that just for due diligence to hold the license with the government, the local government here, they had to randomly audit all licensed branches every couple of years. And like I said, there was a really big change in the compliance environment from 2012 onwards. And I think from 2012 until I left in 2018. So I think I was audited I was audited in 2010 and then again in 2015. So it seemed like I think you had to fall within 6 or 7 years. And they would just come in and do an audit and they would leave early. But I would learn a lot of things. And because I was never a guilty party, I ran a tight ship. They knew I wasn't trying to just be friends with them. I was actually pumping them for information. Just as a compliance person, I wanted to know stuff. And they worked for the government. So they were on the auditing side. I was on the side of you had to keep your books in order. And we did. We were very good at that. It's very important when you're in this type of business. Oh, Johan's sharing about how he got his reef out of Binance. Yeah. Yeah, I know, man. Like keep your stuff off the exchange, guys. Thanks for sharing your horror stories. Continue to share them. Yeah. Even under scams, if they're not helping you get a coin or token off, just go into the scams room. That's 1 year. That's ridiculous. I mean, the money that Litecoin told me about in my wallet there that when I left it, it was dust, right? It was probably like $120. No, actually it wasn't because it was Litecoin that I held. So we all know that went into the dirt. I thought I sold it all, honestly. But that's my bookkeeping, I guess. So yeah. Now I got rid of that Litecoin. I don't like it. To me, it has bad juju, just from what Charlie Lee did to people. The same as I'm like a little bit pissy with Ripple, just not against XRP. I mean, I made it one of the coins, actually, one of the Q labs, just to give the finger to all the people who were saying that it was a bankster coin and trashing it. And I was like, no, it's definitely, I see it in the future. It's going to be very well supported. It's going to be one of the big ones. So I was like, glad that things are going well for XRP all of a sudden, but not for Ripple, but for, the XRP army and all those people who, held the faith. I was there supporting all of you, that, even though I would, not the same as Litecoin, Litecoin I won't even hold. I flipped it into H bar. Just the ultimate FU. I'm going deep here. I'm going to H bar, the undeclared, future mainnet. It's going to mainnet, or is it already a layer one? Anyways, it's early days. Same as like Sui. Sui's early days as well. You don't have to hold both. You can hold one or the other. Kind of like, XLM and XRP. You can hold one or the other. You'll do well. Rob Crowns. So it's Coiny. Hey Sam, happy September. Since DOT has one of the highest staking APYs in the top 35. Do you see institutions and people in the finance commission world really trying to shill it? One would think the pension funds would have something like this. Thank you. That's a great question. And you know what really is a confirmation for me is that when I was talking about the Q labs, I was going to bring up DOT because that's one of the Q labs from the early days. And I think a lot of people, like, we jumped on it. It was one of the ones that I was like, yeah, it's definitely going to go up right from the starting gates. So most people got it for between $2 and $3. And it did have like a really high, I think in the 40s. So it, a lot of people take profits when stuff immediately goes to 10 times. Um, but some people don't hold like really big bags of it or anything like that, and so they're waiting for it to be in the hundreds of dollars. And I still feel like that's in play, but I feel like what's going to really cause the stir is just going to be the general retail market and the financiers coming in all at the same time. You know how they all tried to fit through the door at the same time, and they don't want DOT at like $3 or $4. They want it at $40. I don't know why that is. I see that all the time. They didn't want Stellar at 4 cents. They didn't want ADA at 4 cents. Oh no, but 80 cents a dollar. Oh yeah, we'll pay that. I mean, I understand people who DCA'd up, because now you see that Charles Hopkinson is involved with Elon and is looking to do stuff with Doge, which is his sort of friendship feather. Because Elon is not a blockchain guy other than, supporting Doge and seeing blockchain as the future and creating a payment system on X. I mean, because he was one of the OG with PayPal, he's allowed to do this. He has experience in that area. Oh, look at me going off track again. Okay, Rosanna. Hello, Sam. What do you see in the future for Bitcoin Cash? Is it a successful survivor or should it be swapped for coins with better multiples? Will it reach its all-time high of 3,785 by the end of the year? Thanks, Sam. Rosanna, I would say no. I kind of a little while ago was losing interest in Bitcoin Cash, and it seemed that the market was falling along with that. I know I had high hopes for it earlier on, and it certainly hasn't, run out of steam yet. But I don't think it's going to be one of the big runners. But most stuff like that is in existence, like Bitcoin Cash, would go normally 3 times. So I don't even know what the price it is now. BCH. So it's $5.95. Yeah. So yeah, that should go like at least 3 times. Let's see, max. Oh yeah, it was really, really high before. Oh, I see. Yeah. Wow. Wow. That was really high. I had no idea. I had Bitcoin Cash too. I say had it. Yeah. But it was from the that was from the when they what do you call it? There was the split in the chains of Bitcoin Cash, and anybody who had Bitcoin in the approved wallets got an equal amount. So I just signed in one day and there was Bitcoin Cash there. I was like, oh. And then I learned the concept of airdrops. Yeah, I've been around a while. Jose Lopez says, I believe the legality of tariffs is moving to Supreme Court. What will the outcome be? Oh, well, thanks for that great question, Jose. That is definitely a question that I probably should have addressed on what's trending, but I certainly do those at the weekly crypto review. It's going to be in favor of President Trump. He did sign an executive order, so it is within his parameters. And again, he is the only branch of the government that is directly elected by the American people, and unto himself has that kind of power to try to clean up this huge mess that's been made. Morpheus, hi Sam, who's first? silver 150, or cryptos to 8 trillion. Thanks for all you do. I think I think it'll happen around the same time. So if we're looking at November for silver, because I said a while ago that it was in the month of November, but I wasn't completely convinced that it was for that year because I know how things work with me. If I can get the month, and then I learned that from a Sam Jammer because we only had the meetup with each other in an August, and I had said that he would be moving in October. But the October that was right after seeing him, that came and went with nothing. And then just out of the blue the following year, they get notice from their landlady that she was, I don't know, I think she was selling the place. And so she wouldn't be re-signing with them, or that they had to be out by October 1st. So yeah, I'm thinking about the same time. We'll be charging towards 8 trillion, and that would put us past the 5 and into the 8 by the end of the year. Because I was like, if we get past 5 in September, then 8 trillion by the end of the year is in play, and definitely by April. Yeah, things are going to move really fast. I'm pretty excited for you guys. Rick Ray says, will there be more crypto exchanges available to Americans in the future? Rather limited right now. Yes, as things get more compliant, because they really do have to investigate the exchanges that Americans are allowed to use. And a lot of things they don't agree with. And a lot of the exchanges are willing to be compliant. It's just that there's no policy in place for any compliance officer to show up and see, how do they safeguard the client's personal information, for example. How easy is it for someone to say it's been hacked, but, take all the money out? Because a lot of those hacks have been inside games. So you can see why the American system's not really ready to support a whole lot of exchanges outside of the United States, simply because their jurisdiction is limited. They're not going to send the army over because, one of the exchanges, in the Bahamas shut down because it was hacked, right? If something is licensed, if they're not licensed properly, they don't want to authorize them because the SEC is the first people that, they usually come to see if they can get their money back. And they're like, no, sorry, that's not a sanctioned exchange. So you have to kind of look at it from that point of view, but more of the, right now it is a staffing problem. If I didn't do this, I would easily have had a job in compliance and blockchain, especially where I've been in it for so long now. I mean, I started in 2017. So 8 years is like forever in blockchain because it's only been around a short time. Kumeen says, hi, Sam. Thank you for all that you do. Thinking to FOMO into Chainlink today. Do you think it's a good time to buy before the run up? Yeah, I do think, Kumeen, that, I can understand why you wouldn't want to get Ethereum because, Ethereum's already been a darling. I really liked it when it was back at 2000 and below. But Chainlink is, it has pulled back some. I mean, FOMOing would have been getting it at $26, $27. It's at 22. It's been at 22 before. So I think that's, a good bottom point for it. Now, I don't do any charts or anything like that, but I bet you if you asked in the charts room and asked someone about that they would tell you that 22 was probably a good bottom point for Chainlink. And I mean, do the math on it, right? If I see Ethereum potentially getting to like the 10 to 12,000 by the end of the year, because I do feel like things will move fast. That's like a 3-timeser. Well, I mean, Chainlink would be like maybe a 20-timeser or 15 at least. I'm thinking if you're getting at 22, but I'm like, yeah, if it goes to like 2 to 400, you're looking at least a 10-timeser. Yeah, I think 400 is going to be in play. So, yeah, I mean, it's math, not magic. That's why I was, it's just new money topping up the Chainlink, right? If it goes to $1,000 and you got 1,000 of them, that's $1 million. I just thought of that. Ooh, that's pretty crazy. So I guess a full bag of chain link is 1,000 of them. But don't tell people how many you have. Don't say you have at least 1,000. All right, next question. Shep says, hi, Sam. As the market cap of altcoins is at 1.5 trillion and broken a trending upwards of more than 1,000 days, how high do you see the market cap of alts by the end of this year and 2028? Thanks and cheers. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for the baseline. I appreciate that, Shep. I think it might help me be more accurate as to what I think the altcoin max is going to be. Now, I think the majority of this run is going to go into the altcoins. So, counting Ethereum in with the alts, I would say like almost the whole like new money amount. Like you might see Bitcoin at like 144,000. Somebody was talking about that being a top. I was like, yeah, 140, 150. That sounds about right. And then coming back down again. Because again, all coins are where the money is. Listen, if Chainlink ran even to like $400, anybody who holds like 1,000 of them, they have like $400,000. I mean, don't think that that's not going to make some waves in society, because there's a lot of people who have wallets that have 1,000 or more Chainlink in them. Because there was a time that Chainlink was $2, remember? And then it was 13, you know. So to buy 100 of them, it was like $1,300. Now it's 2,200. It went as high as like 26, 2,700 to buy 100 of them. You know, so some, you know, there's been some good sales in the past, especially when you do it in comparison where there was only, you only paid $225. That was back, remember the link readings? Yeah. You just threw some link at me that added up to a certain amount of money. But what most people would do is they would just buy a link, buy some extra. They would just be like, oh, I'll just get, you know, I got to send her this many link. So I'll just get like an extra 1,000. Because they were only $2.25 back then. And those people, they just held them in their wallets. So everybody wins, right? Link was a Q lab, by the way. So yeah, that'll be a dial in this run along with Solana. I still like Avalanche too, but they need to get to work. Rested on their laurels a bit much, I like to say. Like Green Eye says, hi Sam, when do you see retail flooding in? Oh, soon, any minute. The run, or this run, approximately market cap when the retail starts to flood in. Once we get start charging towards the 5 trillion. Yeah, remember, there's people that I know who are kicking themselves in the butt for not getting in on blockchain when I first told them about it, and now they're crazy about it. Yeah, I think we're going to have a meetup there on that estate. It'll be fun. Yeah, boating activities, everything. Just like being in Cabo, but it's the summertime. You don't want to go to Cabo in the summertime normally. Even though, I mean, it's not too bad. It's cooler than like in Arizona and Texas and all those places because you get the nice breeze off the Pacific. You just make sure you're staying on the Pacific side. Stay out of the Colunas. It's too hot. Yeah. Beach is nice and cool. Anyways, I'm not there right now. It won't be for a while. Mike B says, hi, Sam. Do you see any potential issues with the Exodus wallet? You know, I do not. But if you want to use your ledger to secure it, remember there is a way to secure your Exodus wallet. Let's see. Reva, I sold half my chain link for more XLM and I've been kicking myself. You did it after XLM ran? Oh, ooh. Yeah, see, both XLM and Chainlink are Q labs. The two shall never mix. But I know you're a newbie, Reva. So live and learn, right? You found us. You're okay now. And remember what I said, only 3 coins. You only need 3 coins, right? And now you're seeing that. You're seeing how that can come about with the amount of numbers and everything, what everyone's talking about. That's right. Listen, we've all done dumb things, all of us, especially you've been in crypto any amount of time. Yeah, but we post it. We let people know in the scams channel and the coins and the wallets one, and that's a big one. reminding people not to take like pictures of their seed words. Don't do that. And if there's any chance that your seed words might have been compromised, i.e., another person has seen them at any point, then empty that wallet, set up a new one. You know, sometimes people will not clean out your wallet right away because it would be too obvious. You know, they were on your computer that weekend. I know you left your wallet in the like just where you just make it bigger, and it's one of those ones that you have to click the sign out to sign out of it. Many of them time out now, but like I said, you know, it's that kind of bad luck. But anybody who would know cryptos, they might just write down your seed words but not do anything, you know, for quite some time. So that's why you got to make sure if your seed words have ever been compromised to just move your stuff out. That's the right thing to do. Anyways, we're at 55 minutes. I got to go over and do the premium live stream. So if you're a premium member, I will see you over there. And if you are not, I'm just going to be going over to open up the replay because a number of people do get this on the replay, and we like to be as up to date as possible. If you wanted to be live for future weekly crypto reviews, we have room in the basic tier, which is the $40 and above, the Sam Jammer tier. And anyways, guys, thanks again for hanging out, and I'll see you tomorrow on Coffee Chat. Like I said, I've asked Spencer to get her assistant to post that. I can always go in on email as well now that I'm done with this. But I got to go open up the rooms for the other folks so they can get the update. So it's full sail ahead. Great things are going to happen in cryptos. We're not going to dip too low. I don't see any immediate disasters. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of saber rattling with the James Comey arrest and stuff. All those people, Barack Obama, the whole list, New Leaf. And I'll see you over on the premium in a few minutes. And if not, I will see you next week on What's Trending. Bye for now.